Hello, sports fans. It is Wednesday, June the 50th, 2013, and as usual, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Good to be back with you today. Before we get to our weekly Major League Baseball State of the Union, let's recap what went on in the sports world the last couple of days since the last time I talked to you on Monday. On Monday, down in Miami, the Miami Heat just plastered Indiana in Game 7, so Miami gets to the finals where they will play San Antonio starting tomorrow night. This was no shock to me at all. I mean, I thought Miami would win at home. The best team always wins in the NBA. The team with the superstar always wins in the NBA. I was actually shocked how many NBA experts actually thought Indiana was going to go into Miami and win a Game 7. I mean, have these guys not been watching the NBA the last 100 years? The best team always wins. This is not like other sports where you get major upsets like this. The best team always wins, and the team with the superstar always wins. And here's another thing. How many of these NBA analysis said George for Indiana is a superstar? He's a good player. He's got the potential to be a very good player. He's not a superstar right now, right at this second. LeBron James is a superstar. Kobe Bryant is a superstar. George is not a superstar right now. He's a very good young player that has the potential to be very special. Right now, he's not a superstar. I mean, I couldn't believe how many of the NBA analysts called him a superstar and said he was going to put him on their back in Game 7 and win a game down in Miami. I mean, some of these guys are completely lost. Miami went on one big run in the first half, and this game was over early. It was never close in the second half. Indiana did a very nice job this season. They played all year without Granger, who's one of their better players. They have a nice collection of young players. I like the young coach. We'll see if they can keep West in the offseason. Indiana's got a bright future, but make no mistake about it. Miami was going to get through this series, and they did. So Miami now plays San Antonio starting tomorrow night. Miami has home court. It's a 2-3-2 format. San Antonio's had like 2 weeks off. Give San Antonio credit, too. They've really reinvented themselves. Duncan at his advanced age, Ginobili at his advanced age, back in another finals. Great job by Popovich. He gets the most out of his players. This series will be decided in the first two games. With the 2-3-2 format, if Miami wins the first two games, they're going to win the series. Because very rarely does the team without home court win those 3 games in a row. So Miami, if they win the first 2 games, they're going to get one of those 3 in San Antonio, and they're going to come back 3-2 up. So they're going to have 2 chances to close it out in Miami. For San Antonio to have any chance of winning the series, they have to split the first 2 games, then maybe take 2 out of 3 in San Antonio, go up 3-2, and then split maybe the last 2 in Miami. That's the Spurs' recipe to win. Miami wins the first 2 games. This series is over. I'll tell you, I've been watching NBA basketball for a while. Every time the team with home court wins the first 2 games, they win the series all the time. And it seems to go that way a lot. So if Miami wins the first 2 games at home, they are going to win the series because they're going to steal a game in San Antonio. They're not going to lose all 3 down there. San Antonio has to get one of those first 2 games. They have to do it. We'll see if they can do it. I give the Spurs a chance in the series. I picked Miami to win the title before the season. I picked them to win the title before the playoffs. I'm going to stick with them now. I say Miami wins in 7. I say LeBron James is too much for San Antonio. I say Miami's home court is going to be the difference. San Antonio's still got a lot of age on them. Duncan's older. Ginobili's older. And I don't like that San Antonio's had 2 weeks off. I mean, I'm sure they're well rested, but they're going to be a little rusty now. I think Miami's going to get through this series. Now, Bosh and Wade have to play better. They weren't great against Indiana. And the 2 scores from the regular season between these two teams, Miami won by 5 down in Miami, and Miami won by 2 down in San Antonio. So Miami won both close. I think the series will be close. I think it goes 7. I think Miami wins in 7 games. That starts tomorrow. And do we need 9 o'clock starting time for these games? 9 o'clock on the East Coast. These games are going to be over like 11:30, 12 o'clock. Is that necessary? I mean, I know it's done for TV purposes. You can't start these games at 8, 8:30. 9 o'clock? The games are going to be over so late on the East Coast. So many people are going to go to bed. They're going to miss the end of these games. Terrible job by the NBA. I mean, you can't start a game down in Miami at 9 o'clock at night. I mean, come on already. Terrible job there. So that's where we are in the NBA. The finals start tomorrow night on Thursday. Over to your NHL we go. In the Eastern Conference, the Bruins beat the Penguins in Game 2 in Pittsburgh, 6-1. Boston absolutely routed Pittsburgh in this game. Bruins have a commanding 2-0 lead, and now they go back to Boston for 2 games. Are you kidding me? The Bruins look like they are superior to Pittsburgh. It was so desperate for Pittsburgh the other night, they pulled Vokoum and put Fleury back in net. And I don't want to lay this on the Pittsburgh goalies, Vokoum or Fleury. Pittsburgh's defense has been atrocious. They've been soft. They've been giving up goals left and right. And Pittsburgh's offense, where are you? 1 goal in 2 games at home after you couldn't stop scoring in the first 2 rounds. 1 goal in 2 games. Give Boston all sorts of credit. Boston's big. They're physical. They're nasty. They're a nasty little team. I told you, nasty little team, nasty big team, I should say. I told you all year Boston was dangerous. I mean, they got a little sloppy at the end of the regular season, let Montreal win the division. Boston got new life when they beat Toronto in Game 1. They should have lost that series, but they are flying now. They polished off the Rangers, and they are doing a number on Pittsburgh. I would be shocked if the Penguins came back and won this series. Down 2-0, now 2 in Boston. Pittsburgh is in huge, huge trouble. They could get swept in this series. Over to the Western Conference we go. The Blackhawks have a 2-1 lead over the Kings. The Kings win last night 3-1 in Los Angeles to get back in it. Kings are a Jekyll and Hyde. Can't win a road game. I mean, I can't remember the last road game they won. Can't lose at home. They've won about, 16, 17 in a row at home. They win again at home last night. I still think it's Chicago's series just because of that fact. Chicago has home ice. The Kings are going to eventually have to win on the road. And it's funny, the Kings last year was so good on the road. They've been so bad this year on the road. It's surprising. But Chicago in the driver's seat, still up 2-1. Kings are back in it, though. That did get them back in the series. I do give the Kings a better chance than I give the Penguins, that's for sure. Over to your Major League Baseball scores from yesterday. Washington beat the Mets. They got 2 in the 9th to rally and win that game. Yankees beat Cleveland to share 2 home runs in 2 games. Philadelphia beat Miami. They pulled one out of the fire. Mayberry, a grand slam to win it there. Atlanta beat Pittsburgh in 10 innings. Detroit routed Tampa Bay. Boston blew out Texas. What was the score of that game? Like 100-5. Colorado beat Cincinnati. Tulowitzki, 13 home runs. Minnesota shut out Kansas City. Kansas City's really struggling. Milwaukee actually won a game. They won in 10 innings over a hot Oakland ball club. Arizona beat St. Louis in 14 innings. Baltimore beat Houston, no surprise there. The Angels finally won a game. Congratulations to the Angels. They got swept by Houston 4 games in a row in Los Angeles. They did beat the Cubs last night. White Sox beat Seattle. San Francisco beat Toronto. Lincecum actually won a game. And the Dodgers actually won 2 in a row. They beat San Diego. How about this rookie for the Dodgers, Puig? 2 home runs last night. He looks like a superstar. They call him the man-child for a reason. I mean, he was tearing it up in the minor leagues. I mean, he looks like he's got the potential to be very good. I mean, he had 2 nice games the last 2 games. And I'll tell you, the Dodgers need any help they can get. Kemp on the DL, Crawford on the DL, all sorts of injuries. Mattingly may lose his job. They're in last place. They're about 7-8 games out of first place. They're even further out of the wild card. Dodgers need all the help they can get. This young guy, Puig, keep an eye on him. He looks like he can be a really, really nice player. Tremendous first 2 games. 2 home runs last night. Remember that name, Puig, for the Dodgers. Also last night, of course, we heard the news that A-Rod, Braun, and Cruz, among others, may be suspended 50, 100 games. I can't talk about steroids anymore. This should come to a surprise of no one. You know, no one should be surprised by this. I mean, A-Rod we've known for years. Braun already got caught, got off on a technicality. Always surprised by Cruz. Always surprised by basically anyone that gets caught doing something anymore. So those guys may get suspended. There's others on the list as well. We'll keep an eye on that. They say they're going to make an announcement in the next couple of weeks. Also, I wanted to mention Deacon Jones passed away. The great NFL player Deacon Jones passed away yesterday. Deacon, you will be missed. Great, great player. I want to say congratulations to the Oklahoma Women's College Softball team. They win the national title in Oklahoma City last night. They beat Tennessee. Big win for the state of Oklahoma. They've been going through a rough time with the tornadoes and stuff. So nice job by Oklahoma, giving those people something to cheer about last night. Okay, without further ado, let's get to our weekly Major League Baseball State of the Union. Let's start in the American League. We're going to go worst to first, record, synopsis, you know the whole deal. All right, 5th place, last place in the American League East, the Toronto Blue Jays. They are 24-34. They're 4-6 in their last 10. The injuries are piling up. I'll tell you, I don't think it's going to happen for the Blue Jays this year. High expectations. They are 11 games behind Boston. I don't think it's going to happen for Toronto. One of the biggest disappointments in all of baseball. Fourth place, Tampa Bay. They're 31-26, 7-3 in their last 10. 18-10 in May. Believe it or not, Tampa Bay's offense is doing well. Their pitching is falling apart. Just the opposite of what we thought. We thought they'd struggle scoring and have good pitching. Their pitching hasn't been good, but they've been scoring runs. So who thought that? Number 3, the New York Yankees. They're 33-25. Listen, we know they have a ton of injuries. They finally get to Cher and Euclid back. Got to get Jeter and Granderson back. Who knows about A-Rod now? I mean, they're not hitting as many home runs, although Teixeira did hit a couple the last couple of days. They're 3-7 the last 10. Overall, the Yankees are hanging in there with all these injuries. Got to get some of these guys healthy. Baltimore 33-25. They've done a solid job. They're 7-3 in their last 10. Nice job by Baltimore. Solid team. Very well managed. And number 1, the Boston Red Sox. They're 36-23, 7-3 in their last 10. Buchholz just on fire this year. Lester pitching well. Ortiz still can hit. I like the way Boston's playing. Very surprising Boston's this good this year. They are in first place in the American League East. Over to your American League Central. Last place in fifth place, the Kansas City Royals, 23-32. They're 2-8 their last 10, 6-21 last 27. They've fallen completely apart. We'll keep an eye on George Brett, who becomes their hitting coach. We'll see if he can turn it around. A lot of work to do in Kansas City. White Sox in fourth place, 24-32, 2-8 in their last 10. 0-6 last week. Shut out 3 times last week. I don't like the White Sox lineup at all. Number 3, Minnesota, they're 26-29, 8-2 in their last 10 after they had lost 10 straight. Now they've won, 7 of 9. So Minnesota's hot and cold. We don't know what to make of Minnesota. I don't think they're a very good team, kind of mediocre at best. Oh, they are better than last year, though. Number 2, Cleveland, 30-28. They're 3-7 in the last 10. Jimenez, he's either very good or very bad on the mound. Cleveland's been dipping a little bit the last couple of weeks. I mean, we didn't expect them to be world beaters this year. They were kind of playing above their head. They've kind of fallen back a little bit. Still, 30-28, that's better than what we thought. Number 1, the Detroit Tigers, they're 31-25. To me, they're the class of the division, but they always seem to take a step back. 4-6 in the last 10 games. I mean, come on, Tigers, you got to play better than that. Only 6 games over. I think they should be better than that. I still think they win this division easily. Over to your American League West. Last place, Houston, they're 21-38. They did beat the Angels 4 straight over the weekend in Los Angeles. They are 7-3 in their last 10. Still Houston, all sorts of work to do. 17 games under 500. Seattle, 26-33, 6-4 in their last 10. Can't score at all, and they're not playing well at all, Seattle. Number 3, the Angels, 26-33, 4-6 in their last 10, and they lost 4 in a row at home to Houston. Are you kidding me, LA? You lost 4 in a row in your building to the Houston Astros. Shame on you. Number 2, the Oakland A's, 35-25, 8-2 the last 10. Very, very hot. They did lose last night, but overall they've been very, very hot. Very underrated team, Oakland. Keep an eye on them. And number 1 in the West, as usual, the Texas Rangers, 35-22. 5-5 their last 10. Bullpen's very good. I mean, the back of their bullpen very good with Ross, Nathan, Shepard. So I really like Texas's team, even though they don't have Hamilton this year. Texas is still playing well. We'll keep an eye on Cruz. His name is on the list. We'll see if he gets suspended. That is your American League. Over to your National League. Let's start in the East. Last place, the Miami Marlins, 16-43. They're 3-7 in the last 10. They did sweep the Mets, and they knocked Harvey around. I mean, hard to believe after the Mets swept the Yankees. So Miami did sweep the Mets. Overall, though, Miami is just atrocious. Expect a lot of light crowds down in Miami in that brand new ballpark. The Mets in fourth place, 22-33. 5-5 the last 10. They got swept by the Marlins, just like I mentioned, after they had swept the Yankees. Are you kidding me, Mets? You sweep the Yankees and you go down to Florida and you get swept by the Marlins. Terrible job by the Mets. Expect the Mets to lose a lot of games from here on out. Number 3, the Phillies, 29-30. They are 5-5 the last 10 games. They're giving up too many runs. How about Brown? How on fire is Brown? He's got 17 home runs. The guy is hitting home runs left and right. And here's another thing. Do we need people saying Brown could be the best slugger of all time? I mean, come on, people. I mean, we know he's on a hot streak. Can you give the kid a break? I mean, it's just like George in the NBA. They're saying he's a superstar already. Brown is not there yet. The best slugger of all time? I mean, have we forgotten about Babe Ruth? and Mickey Mantle and Hank Aaron. I mean, now Brown, he's had one decent month, and now he's the best slugger of all time. Settle down, people. It's amazing what some of these analysts talk about. I mean, the best slugger of all time. I heard 3 different people say that. Number 2, Washington in the East, 29-29. They're 4-6 the last 10. Scored 2 runs or fewer 27 times this year. Cannot score at all. They really miss Morse, who they let go to Seattle. They really miss him. They can't score at all. Harper on the DL. I mean, so Washington, all sorts of problems. We'll see if they can turn it around. Number 1, Atlanta, 36-22, 6-4 their last 10. They are 7-3 against Washington. Atlanta doing a solid job. Jay Upton's cooled off a little bit as far as hitting home runs. Can't complain at all about Atlanta. Very solid team. That's your National League East. Over to your National League Central. Last place, Milwaukee, 22-35, 3-7 in the last 10, 6-22 in May. 6-22 in May, and just before that they were playing well. Had an atrocious May. They're finished. Number 4, the Cubs, 23-33, 5-5 in their last 10. They did win 5 in a row last week, but we know the Cubs aren't that good. Major real rebuilding job here. Number 3, the Pittsburgh Pirates. They are 35-24. 5-5 in their last 10, 34-17 since a 1-5 start. I really like Pittsburgh's team. We'll see if they can keep it up. They played well early last year, then fell apart. We'll see if they can hang in there this year. Number 2, the Cincinnati Reds, 36-23, 5-5 in their last 10. Cueto, Leak, Latos, all their starting pitchers pitching very well. Very nice starting rotation for Cincinnati. Solid team with Bruce and Votto in their lineup as well. And number 1, the St. Louis Cardinals. How good are they playing? 38-20, 7-3 in the last 10. Their pitching's been amazing. Even without Carpenter, who's going to be out the rest of the year, may be done for his career, their pitching has been out of sight. I cannot say any bad things about St. Louis. To me, St. Louis has done the best job of anyone in Major League Baseball to me. Great job by St. Louis. Over to your National League West. Last place, the Dodgers, 25-32, 5-5 last 10. Mattingly's in major trouble. Kemp on the DL. Crawford on the DL. They did bring up this kid Puig, who I really, really like. We'll see if he can ignite something for the Dodgers. They have won 2 in a row with him in the lineup. We'll see if they can keep it up. They have a tough schedule coming up. Number 4, San Diego, 26-32, 4-6 in their last 10, 0-6 against Colorado. Got to figure out a way to beat the Rockies, who are our arch rival in your division. Got to figure a way to beat Colorado, I should say. I'll get it right. So there you go, San Diego, 6 games under, not playing great recently. They had a little stretch where they were playing good ball, kind of falling back recently. Number 3, Colorado, 31-28. They are 4-6 in their last 10. Ton of road games in June. We'll keep an eye on Colorado. This is danger time for Colorado. They got a lot of road games this month. Number 2, San Francisco, 31-27, 5-5 last 10. A lot of injuries, not pitching great, although Lincecum did get the win last night. I expect San Francisco to turn it around. I expect their pitching to be there in the end. It always is. Right now, they're not playing great ball, San Francisco. And number 1 in the West, very surprising team, Arizona. They are 33-25, 6-4 in the last 10. How about Corbin, the pitcher, 9-0 with a 2.06 earned run average. Tremendous job by Arizona. Goldschmidt looks like an MVP candidate. Kurt Gibson doing a tremendous job with this team. So that is your Major League Baseball State of the Union. As far as tonight, what to watch, we have Game 3 in the NHL, Pittsburgh at Boston. Pittsburgh's down 2-0. Boston in total control of the series. If Pittsburgh has any hope of pulling off a miracle, they have to win tonight. Pittsburgh needs to show me some life tonight. Don't get pushed around. I mean, they lost 6-1 in their own building in the last game and made it look just so easy for Boston. Show some tenacity tonight, Pittsburgh. Even if you lose, show some fight, show some grit. We don't know who's playing in goal for Pittsburgh, Okuma or Fleury. Coach hasn't announced that yet. Tomorrow in the NHL, you got Chicago and LA. LA trying to even up that series. Of course, tomorrow in your NBA, you got Game 1, Miami and San Antonio in your NBA Finals down in Miami. And, of course, you got all your Major League Baseball. Okay, you guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the support. You guys stay safe. Enjoy the games tonight. Looks like a Pittsburgh-Boston NHL night tonight. I will be back with you guys Friday. Remember, I have a new schedule for June. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Then July and August, I'll probably do Monday and Friday. And then come September, I'll do 5 days a week. Back to my regular 5 days a week in September once football starts. And there's a couple reasons for that. First of all, I have another project I'm working on a couple days a week in the sports world. So that's taking up some of my time. Second of all, after the next couple weeks, there's going to be no more hockey or basketball. So we're just going to have baseball. So it's a good time to take a little break, recharge the batteries. I've been doing 5 shows a week for the last 10 months. Everyone in the sports world, you know, after the next couple of weeks takes some sort of break in the summer. A lot of people in the sports world have big breaks over the summer. It's a good time to recharge your batteries, get ready for football season, which will be here before you know it. But I'm not going anywhere. June, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. July, Monday and Friday. August, Monday and Friday, and then in September we'll be back to 5 days a week. So I'll be with you. We're going to recap everything. I'm not going to miss anything. I will be back with you guys on Friday. We'll recap what went on the next couple of days. By then we'll know who won Game 1 in the NBA Finals, and I'll preview the weekend for you as well. You guys, stay safe. Enjoy the games tonight. I will talk to you Friday. Take care.